Now let us consider the second problem where we are considering out a simply supported beam of span 5 meter where there is a point load of 8 kilonewton which is applied at a distance of 2.5 meter from the left. Width of the beam it is 0.45 meter and the height of the beam it is 0.30 meter. And we have to calculate out the total deformation in the beam and the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram for the same. Okay, and we have to assume out the material for this particular beam it is the structural steel, okay, which the Ansys workbench assumes out by default. So we'll be just switching back to the workbench window where we'll be launching out this static structural new project into the project schematic window. So once I launched out, I'll be just renaming out this particular project which is called as simply supported beam. Okay, so we'll just name today's date, which or date, or will not name or date. Simply supported beam example 1. Okay, and we'll just save out this particular project. Save by clicking on the save option. So in the E drive, I'll be saving out this project and this Ansys experiments, that is simply supported beam example 1. So my project will be saved out. Okay. So the first option it is for choosing out the engineering data, which this Ansys workbench will be choosing out by default. That is the structural steel will be chosen out by default by this Ansys workbench module. Okay. So as we discussed out in the first problem, which was related to the cantilever. Okay, in that I have told out regarding the selection of the engineering data. So once we just finish out with the second step, that is engineering data selection, which will be selected out by default, we will be moving towards the third option, that is geometry. So I'll be just right clicking on this geometry option and I'll be choosing out the new design modeler geometry option. So by clicking on the new design modeler, a new window will be just opened out where I'll be creating out the lines and assigning out the cross section for this problem. My problem it is a simply supported beam which carries out a point load at the center, and the span of this beam it is 5 meters. So the design modeler window will be opening out now. Takes few seconds for opening out the design modeler window. Okay, it is open. Yes, it is opening now. Yes, this is my design modeler window where I'll be drawing out the line for the simply supported beam, and I'll be assigning out the rectangular cross section for that throughout span of 5 meters. So I'll be just clicking on first of all tree outline, in which I'll be selecting out the XY plane for drawing out the line, and by just simply right clicking in this plane area with the view option, I'll be setting out the front view for drawing out the line. So this is my front view in which XY plane I'll be drawing out the line. So again I'll be just clicking on the tree outline for drawing out the line, and simply I'll be clicking on sketching option where all these commands will be activated out, in which I'll be choosing out this line command. Okay, and with the help of this line I'll be drawing out the two lines. This is my line number 1, and at the end of this first line I'll be again drawing out the second line. Okay, I have just divided out this span or into the two lengths, that is 2.5 meter and 2.5 meter, because we are applying out the point load at the center. Okay, so this 5 meter span has been divided into two halves. Okay, that is 2.5 meter and 2.5 meter. Once I just draw out these two lines, then again I'll be clicking on the sketching toolboxes, in which I'll be choosing out the dimensions option. Okay, to dimension out these two lines. Okay, and simply on clicking out the dimensions option, again I'll be clicking on general option where I'll be dimensioning out these two lines. This is my line number 1 H1, and this is my line number 2 H2. Okay, now by default dimensions it is 9.28 and 10.828 for H1 and H2 respectively. So the span required it is 2.5 for H1 and it is 2.5 for H2. so which becomes out total 5 meter. Okay, and at the center we will be carrying out the point load of 8 kilonewton. Okay, so once I just finish out this line, again I will be moving at the top and I will be getting ahead into the point, or I will be getting to the command of the concept. Okay, and once I just click on the concept command, I will be choosing out the lines from sketches option here. Okay, so once I choose out the line from sketches option, I will be choosing out these two lines, line number one, and by pressing out the control key, I will be selecting out the second line, that is H1 and H2 will be selected. Okay, and I will be clicking on apply button. Once I just click on the apply button, I will be just switching on that operation mode and I'll be selecting out the add frozen option. Okay, add frozen in the sense it is the option which is used to connect out these two lines, to connect out the two entities. Okay, so for that purpose we have to froze out these two lines, and once I just select out the add frozen option, at the top I will just click on generate option. Okay, now my line has been ready. Okay, now I'll be again clicking on the concept option for assigning out the cross section for this line, for this entire 5 meter span length of this beam. Okay, so I'll be simply clicking on the rectangular cross section, where I'll be entering out the width and height. So my width, it is given out in the problem, it is 0.45 meter, and the height it is 0.30 meter, and I'll be just entering out these two values, which completes out my rectangle. Okay, now it is important to assign out this rectangular cross section for the entire span of 5 meter. Okay, so I'll be just simply clicking again back on tree outline, in which I'll be clicking on one part and one body. I'll be clicking on the plus option here, and I'll be simply selecting out the, or clicking on the line body. Okay, and for that line body I will be assigning out the cross section, that is rectangular cross section. So in this step I have assigned out the cross section for that entire span of 5 meter. Okay, once I complete out this finishes out my geometry step. Okay, so I'll be again going back to the workbench window, that is main window, in which I'll be opening out the mechanical window, that is fourth step, that is modeling window. I'll be right clicking on that model, and simply I'll be clicking on that edit option to open out this mechanical window, where we will be applying out the boundary conditions and the force for checking out a deformation that will be induced out in this beam, that is in cantilever beam. Okay, it takes some time for opening out that mechanical window. Okay, as we discussed out, this is my simply supported beam. Okay, which both the ends will be fixed out, and which carries out a point load at the center at a span of 2.5 meter from the left. Okay, and for which we are going to check out the uh, deformation that will be induced out in that beam, and second we have to calculate out the or to plot out the SFD and BMD for the same problem. Okay, just for a minute, it takes some time for opening out the mechanical window. Yes, it has opened out.